to review quickly, I'm in a world of trouble in some ways, and I'm in a beautiful world in other ways. So I've done two things that I need to fix. Back in the day, a few videos ago, I changed all of these links to be block elements so that their parent nav tag would understand how high they really were, and thus make that salmon background color stretch all the way up to the top and bottom of them. So that was great, but in doing that, it made this link also behave as a block level element, which is now making it way too big because it's taking up 100% of its container. So this is tough. I need some way to specify that I want only the links in the nav area to belong to be treated as block level elements. Similar thing happened down here. I flowed all these images to the left and applied a margin. Unfortunately, because I used IMG as my selector, that also affected this Kevin Bacon logo image. So now this one has 5 pixels of margin around it, and it's floating left, which is making the nav go next to it. So this is not what I wanted. In both cases, I need a more specific way to say all links in the nav area and all images in this aside tag, which is something that we have not learned how to do yet, and now we're going to learn to do. Just to say up front, I could also go and put classes on these particular images or classes on these LI tags, but that's way too much work, when really I want to just confine my selector to a particular area. So here I'm going to say, let's do the images first because I'm right down here. I'm going to say special styling for images in the aside tag. Okay, so aside space image, and then I'm going to say note the space between the word aside and image. Oops. So most of the time white space does not matter in HTML and CSS. This is one place where white space totally matters. It doesn't matter how much, like I could put multiple spaces in here, but there has to be a space. And that means that this is talking about all image tags that live inside of an aside tag. So if I look at the HTML for a moment, I can see that all of these image tags are children of this aside tag. And so that rule will style those. Let's have a save and a refresh. And now this is beautiful. At the top, this is cleaned up because this image tag is no longer affected by my rule. It's only the ones inside the aside are affected. So let's use what we just learned here to fix up this problem. So this is being affected. Let's just have a quick look in the inspector to remind us why it's happening. So this is an A tag. It's a button. And if I look out over the over to the right-hand side here, I've got line 23, which says display block. So this is taking all A's and it's making them display block. And if I uncheck this, my button looks beautiful again, but then at the top, this looks bad. So this is why I put the display block in there, was so the nav would know how high these A's actually are. So let's go to line 23 and see if we can narrow this rule to not all A's, but all A's inside the nav. Let's have a look. Using what we just learned before, let's go up to line 23 and confine this to all A's inside the nav by saying nav space A. So this works because in the index file, all of these A tags live inside this nav. And if I thought there were going to be multiple nav bars and I might have different styling for them, I might even confine this further to just the main nav. Double click, copy. Instead of nav, I could even make this quite a bit more specific with pound main nav space A. So I'm going to put a little comment about this too. Main nav A refers to only the A tags inside the main nav area element. Save, refresh. That's still looking good. Did I fix my problem down here? I totally did. So, contextual selector, that's what these are called. I'll write a little note in here. This is called a contextual selector. So the reason it's called a contextual selector is because the A tags are in the context of main nav. And down here at the bottom, the image tags are in the context of an aside tag. So hopefully this will, this kind of a selector is so powerful, so necessary. You will learn to love it.